Hello everyone, this is Ashley Tucker. Thank you for joining me today. Today I'm joining My Favorite Things again for their weekly sketch challenge. If you're not sure what the MFT sketch challenge is, I recommend you go check it out. I will have a link to the blog post in the description down below. Now here's what the sketch looks like for this week's challenge. If you saw the photos of my card, you'll notice that I didn't follow the sketch exactly, but I definitely used it as inspiration and just put my own twist on it. I took out the All the Cupcakes stamp set and I picked out one of the cupcakes and put it in my Misti tool. I then stamped it with Gina K Designs Jet Black Amalgam ink onto some Neenah Classic Crest Solar White cardstock. I'm coloring in this cupcake with my Copic markers. Now I wanted the frosting to be white, but I don't want to leave it completely white, so I'm adding some shading with a warm gray marker. I knew that the background of my card was going to be very bright and colorful, so in contrast, I wanted this cupcake to be white and not very colorful so that it would stand out. But I also wanted to still have some fun with it, so I decided to make the candle rainbow colored, and I'm going to be adding a few sprinkles on top. You might have noticed that while I was coloring the candle, some of the color bled outside the lines. In order to fix that, I just took my colorless blender and I pushed that ink back towards the candle, and that helps to kind of erase it. Once the coloring was done, I die cut out the cupcake, and while I had my die cutting machine out, I took out this rainbow bright die, which is from My Favorite Things, and I die cut it out of 6 different colors of cardstock. I decided not to use traditional rainbow colors, and instead I went for a pastel rainbow. I took out an A2 size panel of white cardstock, and I'm adhering each of those stripes using some liquid adhesive. Once that was dry, I used my trimmer to cut off any of the paper hanging off of the side, and I also trimmed the panel down to be 3 3/4 by 5 inches. For my sentiment, I prepped a piece of purple cardstock with my powder bag, and I picked a sentiment from the All the Cupcakes stamp set, which I stamped with Versamark ink, and then I embossed with a white embossing powder. I cut that down into a strip, and I also cut a piece of vellum. I'm going to be adhering my sentiment onto the vellum, and I used my grid mat to make sure that I could line it up straight. I also added some foam tape to the back of my cupcake, and I popped that up right on the end of my sentiment strip. I used some scissors to cut a diagonal edge on the end of my sentiment, and then I picked out 2 sequins and I adhered them with some liquid adhesive above the cupcake and the sentiment. I created an A2 size card base, and I adhered a piece of GUAVA cardstock to the front of it, and then I popped up my rainbow panel with some foam tape onto the card. Now everything that I put on the vellum is going to be where I hide all of my adhesive. I used a liquid glue and I put it behind all of those things, and then I adhered the vellum onto my card base. Since this is a really fun rainbow card, I decided it needed some sparkle, so I took out my Wink of Stella glitter brush and I went over the sentiment, and I also added a little bit of sparkle to the frosting on the cupcake. I really love how it looks on the frosting because it makes the frosting kind of glisten. For the final touch on this card, I went around that vellum square with some dashed lines using my white gel pen, and then this card is all done. Thank you so much for watching today. I hope you really enjoyed this card design. Don't forget to check out the MFT Sketch Challenge. I'll have a link for that down below, as well as links for everything that I used to make this card. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.